so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. It's an in-depth dive into why I'm not purchasing real estate and why you shouldn't purchase real estate too. But don't worry, you guys. This market that we're currently in is only temporary, okay? So stay tuned for the end of the video because I'm going to give you my projection on when I think it's going to be time to buy real estate again. And here's the thing, you guys, I think that time is going to be much faster than what you actually might think. So what I've done is actually I've broken down into 5 different categories why I'm not buying. And then what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to break down each 5 categories more in depth to show you guys with data and with my opinions and experience on why I don't think it's time to buy right now. The number one thing is overpriced homes. Number 2 is the fear of missing out in the market. Number 3, obviously, inventory. Number 4, we are already in a transition out of a seller's market into the buyer's market. And number 5, not being trapped upside down in your home. So we're going to do a deep dive into all 5 of those things right now. But before I continue, if you guys could remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a realtor in Houston, and I'm a loan officer in Texas. And I've been doing real estate stuff for a couple decades, you guys. And I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way as well. And if you could, please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, comment and hang tight. Let's get started now. And where we're going to get started right now, you guys, is homes being overpriced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the graph from Fred Economic Data, and we're going to look at the last 10 years of median home value history. And essentially what I'm going to show you guys is pricing corrections. Okay, we're going to take a look at the last 10 years of the housing market, and we're going to see when housing prices actually corrected, because there was 2 predominant times in the last 10 years where we actually did have a housing market correction. So the fact that people are still saying real estate doesn't go down, buy is absolutely bonkers of them to keep saying that when we have all of this history, right? We have years and decades of history of the housing market actually does go into correction. The problem right now is equity went up way too much. So I think there's going to be a crash. But let's look at the last 10 years of housing market correction right now. Okay, guys, so here's the graph of median sales price of houses sold for the United States. So obviously we're up here, right? This was a massive equity surge, and this surge here is why I'm telling you guys we are in a housing market bubble, and we are dangerously close to actually having this bubble explode and having prices plunge. But essentially what I want to show you guys is these 2 run-ups and corrections here in 2017 and again in 2018. Okay, so if we look right here, this is Q4 of 2017. The median home price was $337,900. So it peaked right here, and then the market actually corrected, right? So it was peaked here and it went down from here. So it went down in Q2 of 2018 to $315,600, which is essentially a 6.5% correction. So there was a 6.5% correction in 2017, right? And 6.5% in my mind, y'all, that's a lot of money to throw down the drain. And that doesn't include people going over asking price, right? This is just normal data. This is not going over asking price. Now let's look at the next spike right here, which is 2018 Q3. So 2018 Q3 median home prices were $330,900. It plummeted right here into Q1 2019 to $313,000. So this correction right here, you guys, that's a 5.4% correction. Okay, so we got a 6.5% correction here, 5.4 correction here. But look at this massive equity surge, right? Do you really think it's only going to be a 5% correction, you guys? I want you to comment right now, pause the video, comment right now. And I want you guys to tell me if you think that we're going to have more than a 5% correction going into 2022, into 2023. But as you saw in the last 10 years, 2 price corrections already, and things weren't really even that inflated as they are now. So think about that for a second. It is highly likely that home prices right now actually go down over 10%. And I say over 10% because I'm going median average across the United States. Some cities, some areas will be more affected than others. It's possible that some cities won't even go down. And it's also possibly that some cities will have a massive housing market bubble burst and equity will plunge. Now, what I think is devastating, anything close to 20%. Anything close to 20% and loss of equity is a lot. So what I want to do is let's take an example of it, just so you to put this in perspective about how devastating a 10 to 20% equity drop is. But if you think it's more than 10 or 20%, you guys, it can get real bad. But again, I'm talking national average. So let's just say the median home price is $400,000, which is roughly about that right now. So at a $400,000 house, right, a 10% market correction or crash is a loss of $40,000. So instead of a $400,000 house, you guys, that house is now $360,000. 10% is bad, right? I think 10% is super bad because if you don't have to lose 10% in equity, then why would you purchase right now? But here's the thing. Let's go even further. Let's talk about a 20% equity drop. And if things go down 20%, you guys, that is a full-fledged crash. That is a horrible loss of equity. 20% is a ton of money generally. So taking a $400,000 house, if we lose 20% of equity on a $400,000 house, that essentially loses $80,000 in equity. So instead of a $400,000 house, people will have a $320,000 house. And here's the craziest thing of all, you guys. That's not counting anyone that paid over appraisal value and over listing price, right? So if houses go down 20%, $80,000 loss, plus add on top of that any amount of money that you went or people went over asking price. Now sit on that and think, do you really want to lose $80,000 to $100,000 by purchasing a house right now? I don't think so. Me personally, I'm renting, and I'll tell you my story at the end of this video, but I'm renting. I would rather throw away my money, throw away $25,000 a year than be trapped in my house upside down, $100,000 in equity. So the number one thing is homes right now are drastically overpriced and a correction is coming. Now let's go into the number two thing right now, which is fear of missing out on the buyer side of the market. The fear of missing out right now, you guys, it's so bad that it has turned essentially logical people into maniacs, right? These people are absolute maniacs. And I'm not talking about the institutional investors or the investors. I'm talking about normal homeowners or homeowners that have just sold a property, and instead of renting or instead of sitting out, they've decided to go back in the housing market and be a part of the fear of missing out. The emotion is so powerful, you guys. It is so strong. It is ruining our housing market just off of emotion. People are afraid that if they don't buy right now, for some reason that they're never going to own again. That is absolutely 100% bonkers right there alone. Of course, you're going to have time to buy again. Don't believe me? Look at the data for the last 100 years. This is not the first, second, third, or fourth time this has happened. The housing market always goes in cycles, right? So the fear of missing out is so bad, you guys. I'm going to read a quick snippet from an article just to give you a brief story about what happens when you go into the housing market and you are a part of that fear of missing out. But let's take a look at this article right now. Okay, you guys, this article is by wypr.org. I'm just going to read this brief little part right here. All right. And this is about a couple that purchased a house during fear of missing out. Okay. Morgan, 30, and her husband own a quaint home in Norwood, Massachusetts, outside Boston. Like many millennials, they moved in June 2021, and to get ahead of the hyper-competitive market and ensure they won the bidding, they decided to waive their inspection. That's right. They decided to waive their inspection, okay? Which is absolutely crazy. We have since had plumbing issues. We currently have a hole in our dining room ceiling because we just had a leak in our plumbing. Then in the coldest week of winter, their furnace broke and they had to get a new HVAC system. Morgan calculates they have spent about $20,000 since they bought the home. And here's the thing, you guys, that's not even going into the possibility that they went over appraisal value and over asking price. So the fact that people are waiving inspections right now is so mind-blowing to me. I don't see how any realtors or any agents could ever recommend to their clients. I mean, if it was my client, I would beg them. I would literally beg my client to slow down and say, please, for the love of God, get a home inspection because that property should last you 30 years. It's not something that's going to go away overnight. You have to see yourself in that house for decades, right? The short-term look, the emotional look right now is going to lead to the record amount of buyer's remorse in our housing market history because there's too many people going absolutely crazy. They're throwing out the fundamentals, they're throwing out logic of negotiation, and fear of missing out right now is the number 2 reason why I am not buying and why you shouldn't buy too. But the good news is, you guys, is I'm already seeing the fear of missing out leave the market. Now let's go into the number 3 thing right now why I'm not buying, which is inventory. Now, like I've told you guys, I'm willing to overpay a little bit for a house that I love, but I am not willing to drastically overpay for a house that I like or I think it's just okay. So what I want to do for you guys is I want to show you that inventory right now, historic lows, and that as we move on from this point forward, inventory should only start going up. So to go into the housing market right now, when we have historical low inventory and historically high bidding, is a drastic mistake because that patience that you have in waiting is going to lead to more inventory options from this point forward. But take a look at where we're at historically as far as the inventory shortage. And you guys, really what it is like this inventory shortage fueled by fear of missing out is really damaging to our housing market right now. But as you can see, we're at historic low inventory. We did have a slight increase from month to month, but it's really not noticeable. So we're really low as far as inventory. As you can see here, we need to be more up here, which is 1.2 to 1, I'd say 1.1 to 1.3 million listings. We only have 381,000 listings. So that's super low, you guys. But take a look at this next graph right here. This is the 10-year outlook of new home builds. And as you can see, we're at the top, right? We're almost at the historic amount of new buildings taking place. It was higher than this at one point back in the early 2000s, but we're really high as far as new home builders building more homes. So we're going to get a huge inventory influx from new home builders going into 2022. But also look at this, okay? This is the new listing graph over 10 years. And as you can see, in May and June, we have the most amount of listings. So here's May 2019, right? So right now, you can see that we are having a surge of listings coming to the market, and this should continue to surge for the next 3 to 4 months. So we're going to have resale homes come on the market. We're going to have new builds come on the market. But take a look at this as well, you guys. Now, this is by Black Knight. You probably know this. Now, as the foreclosure ban has been lifted, January and February, we got an additional 57,000 homes that have been in foreclosure starts. So the foreclosures are happening again. Now, here's what I want to point out, you guys. So 32,000 and 25,000 foreclosure starts in February. The thing is, you guys, so we will get some more inventory from foreclosures, but the fact that we even have any foreclosures right now should surprise you, and it should alarm you. Why? Because no one should be going into foreclosure right now, because everyone that owns a home has had multiple years of double-digit equity growth. So why are they going into foreclosure? And let me ask you this. Now that we're headed into a time where we don't have double-digit equity growth, do you think the foreclosures are going to slow down? Think about it. And then throw in inflation and throw in all these other expenses, property taxes, school loans, EIDL loans, food, gas. Do you really think foreclosures are going to slow down? They have already sped up, and we have double-digit equity growth. So we will also get more inventory from foreclosures. But again, you guys, I'm not willing to overpay one of the biggest financial transactions of my life unless I absolutely love it. And if I don't absolutely love it, you better guarantee and you better believe that I'm going to get a great deal on that house and I'm going to negotiate. It is what it is. Now, that is the number 3 reason why I'm not buying right now, and I don't think you should buy too. There is junk inventory. And the more that we wait, the more inventory and more options we will get. Now, the number 4 reason why I am not buying, you guys, is because we are already in a housing market that is transitioning into a buyer's market. Is it a buyer's market yet? No. I'm not saying it's a buyer's market yet. I said transitioning. And I think that transition is going to be very violent and very financially damaging to a lot of people. But we are already in that transition and cool off. Now, normally I would say it's just going to be a cool off, but the fact that there was too much equity growth too soon, that's why the cool off will lead to a crash. But the cool off has already started, and I'm going to point out some things right now. Let me pull up this article by Redfin. Okay, so as you guys can see here, roughly 1 in 8 sellers cut their list prices during the 4 weeks ending April 17th. So 1 in 8 sellers have already cut their prices, you guys. So this is already happening. Now look at this as well. Online searches are down 8%. Okay, so 8% online searches. So not only are sellers already reducing prices, less people are even looking at houses, right? Now also look at this, okay? Now this is very interesting as well. Home tours through Redfin are down 4%. So there are less people searching for homes on the internet, and there are less people that are actually touring homes. But also rates have surged, right? So the mortgage rates have surged. Mortgage payments are 38% higher than normal, right, than they were a year ago. So 38% higher. Are you crazy right now? That's absolutely wild, isn't it? But also look at this, you guys. Mortgage purchase applications were down 14%. So what does all that mean? There's less interest in people purchasing homes, which is going to essentially translate into less emotion, less fear of missing out. That fear of missing out is going to transition to the sellers out of the buyer's market. But listen, you guys, sellers, homes on the market longer, already cutting prices. So the buyers are getting leverage again. There's less online searching, there's less touring, and there's less people asking for money or mortgage applications. So you guys can already see that the housing market is cooling down, is slowing down. But the reason I believe that there's so many people that are still freaked out is there's still the lack of inventory. But again, I just showed you 3 surges of inventory that are fixing to take place from here on out. But in other words, that is my number 4 reason that I am not purchasing right now, because I'm going to wait just a little while. I'm just going to wait a little while and let the transition play out. I'm going to let the dust settle, because this financial transaction, you guys, is huge. And I don't want to be trapped in my house, which brings me to the number 5 thing on why I'm not purchasing and why you shouldn't. And that is being trapped in your house upside down in equity. So what I want to do, guys, is explain how bad that really is, because I've been telling people better a higher interest rate than buy an overpriced house. And I'm going to explain exactly why right now. If I get a high interest rate right now, so let's just say house prices go down and interest rates go up. If I got a higher interest rate, in my personal situation, first of all, my mortgage interest is tax deductible, right? I can also sell my house. If I get in a financial hardship, I can sell my house, because more than likely my home probably went up a little bit in equity, so long as I didn't buy an overpriced house. And here's the other thing. The potential to refinance into a lower rate is also there if I get a higher rate. So higher rate, at least I can sell my house, at least I can build equity, and at least I have the potential of refinancing. Now, if I overpay for a house, okay? If I overpay for a house, all right? And let's just be hypothetical. Let's say we only have a market correction of 5%. If I overpay for a house and I just went $50,000 over appraisal value, and my house just lost 5% in equity, and the average price is $400,000, that's a $70,000 loss in my house. But let's say I lost 20% in equity. If I lost 20% in equity on a $400,000 house, that's 80 grand. And I put $50,000 over asking, so that is a loss of $130,000. Now, let's say I want to move because of job, because of school, because of health issues, because of financial issues, or I want to upsize, or I want to downsize. Whatever the reason may be, I can't sell my house because I'm trapped in it, because I don't have the equity to sell my house. It is better to have a higher rate, you guys, than be trapped. Let me share with you my own personal situation. Back in 2008, when the recession hit, I lost my job. Not only did I lose my job, my home went down almost 50% in equity in Southern California. I was over $300,000 upside down in my home in Southern California. So when I lost my job and I couldn't afford my mortgage payment, could I sell? Could I sell my house? No. Did I try to do a short sell? Yes, but everyone was trying to do a short sell, and it led to a foreclosure. And not only that, I got a deficiency notice for $188,000. That nightmare followed me around in my life for over 10 years. It took me 10 years scraping by, crawling my way back into having spectacular credit, which I have now, right? But I will never go back to where I was before. So, do y'all see what I mean? If something horrible happens, God forbid, and you can't sell your house, you are trapped in it. And when you're trapped in your house, that is one of the highest leading factors into foreclosure. And foreclosures are bad, you guys. The foreclosures are bad for so many reasons. Not only it will devastate your credit, but it can also mess up your IRS tax liabilities, and the IRS could put a lien on you that follows you around for 10 years. You don't want it. And all I'm saying is this: just sit out a little while longer, right? Just sit out a little while longer. That's all you got to do, in my opinion. So, you guys, I want to end this video with some conclusions that I want to share you. Now, the first conclusion that I have is, right now, especially, a little patience goes a long way. I'm not saying to never buy. I think real estate is absolutely great. But every once in a while, we get out of control in our housing market and we shouldn't buy. And we are in that situation right now. So I believe right now you should lead with patience, right? So be patient. And another thing, you guys, another conclusion is, this is nothing new. The fact that people are so out of their minds, real estate only goes up, you better buy right now. The housing market goes in cycles, you guys. It always has. I don't understand why even some of these professionals say that, except that they're chasing a paycheck. Everyone knows the housing goes in cycles, right? So this is nothing new. Corrections aren't new. Crashes aren't new. They've happened before. So the writing, you guys, it's on the wall. Another conclusion, you guys, and let me ask you this: why rush the largest transaction of your life? Why be such an emotional wreck buying the largest transaction of your life? There is no good reason. There's absolutely nothing that anyone can tell me that would justify rushing out there purchasing a home. So there's no point in rushing. Okay. The fourth conclusion I have is, if you guys are trying to purchase a home, it's really, really important to watch your local market. Because remember what I said, not all markets are going to be the same. Some markets, it's going to be time to buy sooner than other markets. So it's very, very important that you guys watch your local market and monitor where the prices are going, where the inventory is going, so that you can make a more informed decision. Now, here's my last conclusion, you guys. And now this is a bold prediction, right? Now, this is what I'm saying. By the end of August, we will have double the amount of inventory. We will have over 700,000 listings. Mark my word, by the end of summer, we're going to have double the amount of inventory right now. I don't know where interest rates will be by that time, but I will tell you that we're fixing to have a surge of inventory, right? We will have a surge of inventory. Keep watching whatever programs you use, or if you're working with a realtor, just keep watching the inventory go up. And again, every month that you're patiently waiting, every month that goes by you're patiently waiting, more opportunity is going to land on your lap, and you will be prouder with yourself for having the discipline, having the self-control to sit this one out, only temporary. Okay. Now, those are my points, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I kind of wanted to get off doing article breakdowns and wanted to give you my own content. I wanted to just be a YouTube content creator for a change. I really love doing these types of videos. They take a lot longer. I have to get a lot more data. But other than that, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you still think it's a good time to buy. I really want to hear your opinions. Just share with me your opinions, and share with our community your opinions as well, because your guys' experiences and insights are not only helping me grow, you're helping other subscribers grow as well. I'm just one person. I'm doing the best I can, and I have 2 jobs. I have children. I have a lot going on, you guys. So I'm trying to do the best I can to give you enough data to help you guys make the right decision, to help empower you guys just a little bit every single video. And I hope you guys see that I'm not a doomsdayer. What I am is a whistleblower, right? I'm blowing the whistle right now so that you guys could do something about it, right? Don't be crippled in fear. Do something about it. Save money, credit, love family, sit on the sidelines just a little while longer. All right, you guys, that's going to conclude this video. If you're out there looking for real estate, I wish you luck, and I hope you win.